I don't believe that I could have done something like that. I know that guy from nowhere. It's going to sound stupid. I never knew I did it. Meet Tony, the world's craziest man, thinking detectives won't find out he stabbed 2 people in cold blood. But what no one saw coming, not the
So my DNA doesn't get, colluded with yours and everything. But you do not have to submit to the collection of the sample, but you do so knowingly and willingly. Okay, and that it'll be checked with the national database for the case with the state crime lab, and then
the news. Did you have any blurbs then? No, about anything? No. And see, at that point, there's no way you could have had repressed memory, right?
You're talking a day or so. So a couple days. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have been a memory issue at that point. And I don't believe anybody can get so drunk that they can brutally murder 2 people, rape 1, and not remember anything. So I just can't.
I can't buy it, Tony, that 2 days after this happens, you're seeing it on the news, and you're not going, holy, I did that. Now, maybe since that point you've repressed it, but that day you saw it on the news, you would have known it was you. I don't know what to tell you. I wish I could just... What's the truth? I've been telling you. At the time of the murder, he claimed to have been with his then girlfriend, Jody, who, by the way, never asked him where he had been Friday night, and wasn't scared of her safety after hearing the news. Somehow he thinks all this evidence wouldn't be able to put him away. But no matter how innocent Tony tries to act, detectives have surveillance video from the farmhouse, picture evidence of the crime scene, DNA swab tests, and polygraph that points fingers toward him. It was very clear when it came to the questions regarding Jim and Tana's death that you're lying. So we're going to get this worked out today. That's why we're here. Personally, I believe that's why you came in here today. That's why you agreed to do all this, because I think after 30 years, it's time to get this over. We've talked a lot about your, I guess, not really knowing, not hearing about this case, but clearly we wouldn't have brought you here today if we didn't have information that told us that this is you, okay, that you are involved, whether or not you're involved alone, whether or not there was someone else there and you just went along for the ride. That's important. That's important for you as far as the future goes. But this is your time, because the reality is we know the answers to the questions we asked, even though we didn't tell you we knew the answers. Well, definitely says it was your semen, 100%. That's why we said if there was someone else there, then your memory would help. I don't remember anything, because otherwise it's all on you. Right now, I don't even care about what's on me. What do you care about right now? My family. Okay. And remember when I brought that. It's just dated today's date. So I just need you to sign there and then print your name right there. We appreciate that. This is your stuff here, right? And I went backwards. Up several times to the extent that you can help your family, I think is really, really important. They're going to really appreciate the hows, the whys, the what fors, some understanding. They gotta come to terms, grips with this. How you need the accountability and taking responsibility. And I've said, though, I mean, if you got to, I obviously was there. I'm not arguing. Yeah, you are. I'm not arguing. What I'm saying is I do not remember hurting those people. I don't. 10 and 10? Yes, 10 and 10. When we were at work, your work. You had a noticeable behavior change when we brought up Jeff. Jeff? Yeah, what's going on there? This is my uncle. Thank you. Do you need anything other than water? No. I have to go to the bathroom. Okay. You let us know. I didn't agree with him. Okay. He was like, I remember being young and...
freaking SWAT team or whatever they called it back then being out there looking for him. And I don't think he did anything that bad. I don't even know what the hell he did. Had a fire on him.
Is that what it was? kind of started it. Wasn't real cooperative with law enforcement. Dad didn't even really know. Just ran from him. He was always kind of, I wouldn't say disrespectful to my grandparents, but it just him and I didn't see eye to eye. Okay, I spent my whole life there, kind of helping out with the farm and whatnot. He didn't like that.
Okay, so it's all family-related stuff. Tony thinks acting nonchalant when detectives confront him about the truth will buy him time to cook up another story. But things were about to get much worse for Tony, because detectives were about to reveal the footage he didn't
even know existed. Even at that, would it be enough to send this heartless soul to the pit of hell? Let's take a look at this. Sure, let's slide over here too. See it? All right. Yeah, we can. Okay, which is fine. That's fine. It's going in the same boat, and I used this as my clock. Oh, thank you. Sorry, do you want to copy this, Tony? No, okay. It's just a real simple form, just says you can send. So if I'm doing my math right, you had, see, there's a dumbbell up in the corner there. See that? No. He'll show it again. See it straight up on top there? Yeah. See that? Yeah. Notice how his hand gripped the water bottle for support when the footage was played. His tactics are running out, and what he keeps calling a big blank won't help him out, and his only option is to finally confess. But my dad got killed. I don't remember if it was Tana's dad that actually hit him. There were 3 of them. It was a terrible accident. My dad was driving. They were racing snowmobiles down road. My dad's belt blew. Snowmobile coming up behind them because when the belt blows, no lights hit him, killed my dad instantly. The 3rd guy coming up ran that guy over. It was a horrible accident. Excuse me. And,
I don't even know who hit who. I was 5 years old. I remember the big fights at the funeral, because my mom and dad were going through a divorce. My mom got blamed for it all.
I remembered that. And for whatever reason that night, I had never even thought about any of that before. I remembered that. And that's what I remember about why I would have been at why I went to the house. I was drunk, and all I could think about was that accident. And I didn't go there to hurt anybody. I didn't. But I honestly can tell you that I don't know what started, what happened, what started it all. I don't. I know that in my drunkenness that accident was on my mind. And you blamed Tana's dad for killing him.
Your dad? I don't know. He was involved. Okay, it's not that I'm saying that he killed my dad. That's what I can remember. Tony claimed he magically entered Tana's house while drunk, thinking because his
late father's death was taking a toll on him. You can see him finally admitting he went, but clearly he's holding back the why and what exactly happened. So when you went there, you knew it was Tana's house. So you went there? When you got in there, it would have been a 25-year anniversary. Tony thinks this was going to be another walk in the park, that he was going to resume his duty as the best husband and father in the world. But little does he know, karma is here for payback, is going to want to know what in the world. Late. Okay. Do you remember the dog? 'Cause the dog would have come first making noise. I don't remember the dog. Okay. So when you got in the room, they had to have been in bed, right? Yeah. So they're in bed. They're sleeping. I think so. So how do you wake them up? Well, if there was a dog barking. Okay. So you think the dog woke them up? I'm going to assume. Okay. So when they see you, do you say anything? You give them a reason why you're there? I don't remember talking, 'cause you said you went there not to harm them. So what was the purpose of going there? If it wasn't to, that's the part that I wish I could answer. Okay, I don't know. You're scuffling with them. What do you remember next?
He ended up falling to the floor.
Where he had been, right by the foot of the bed. Okay, like you saw in the... It had to be there. Okay. What did you do when he was on the floor? Then, that's where the chest ones come in. I didn't go down onto the floor. You know, if that had to have happened while we were fighting mono. So, you're stabbing him as you're fighting on standing up, or are you around his back stabbing him like this? No. So, how do you think it happened? We were faced squared off, whatever you want to call it, faced off. There was some back and forth with the knife. Could have been that. That's the part that's all foggy. I am not lying to you. I don't know what happened. So he ends up on the floor. Now that you know what you know, can you say he was dead when he was on the floor? Detectives are using cold, hard facts of DNA results to force the truth out of Tony, giving him no chance to lie his way out. Dad is a good guy, a nice guy. How in the world did he get wrapped up in this? I'm a human being. At some point, Tony, you have felt some guilt. You have kept some secrets, okay? And they have to go on out there. I believe you remember it. You remember having sex with her. You remember. You tell us what the truth is. Tell us what the truth is. Just the what? What? What happened? That's what I said. Say it again. We don't think any more or less of you because we knew what this stuff was anyway. Okay? We don't think any more or less of you, Tony. Just give us the what of that order. Follow it with Tim. And that's the part that I don't. Remember? Either is how that even started. Okay? And it did hit her. He's on the floor. So while you're fighting with him, she doesn't get out of bed or anything? Not that I remember. Okay, he's on the floor, had sex with her. What made you... Okay, I'm sorry, keep going. She started to stir, and I had to have stabbed her. But you don't remember? No. Where are her underwear? No idea. Went flying? No idea. Do you remember cutting the 90 gauge that I think I did? I think I cut. At what point? It had been after I hit her. Okay. It's like when you got on top of her to have sex with her. You had to. Did she have panties on? I don't. Yeah. Okay. So maybe she never had panties on. I don't know. So you assume. But you don't remember. Stabbing her. And do you remember having the knife? I mean, Tim is stabbed 27 times and his throat is cut. Now, it has dawned on Tony that he wouldn't escape the doom waiting for him. It waited patiently for 30 years. There was a knife. And then you know there was a knife. Had to be a knife. No, not had to be. Do you know there was a knife? There was a knife. Yeah. Okay. I just don't. You don't know if you brought it. He had it in the room. Exactly. Once the struggle happened, there was a knife. There was a knife, and you used it. Yes. Right. I remember having a hold of his arm. Some way, somehow, day by day, families are going to know families. Tony, you need to do the right thing for some other people. Where do I need a lawyer in all this? That's your right. Okay, that's your... And we tussled, and then I had the knife, you know? Okay, that's significant. You got my arm. I'm Tim. Grab my arm. We're fighting. You got a knife. It's gonna be in that hand, right? If you got the knife, you're holding on with this. I think the knife was in his hand. Okay, so you're grabbing his wrist, right? Somehow you get the knife, right? And then what? And then, 'cause he's not gonna back off. No. So I'm coming at you. What are you gonna do? I'm going to defend myself. And he was defending himself. Okay, so how are you going to defend yourself? If I got a hold of the knife from him, Okay, I used it on him. How? By taking it out of his hand? Okay, and then what?
By getting him with it. Show me. So you're going like that while you're standing up, right? So that's what I remember. Just like this.
The tussle is when we were standing. I do not remember anything on the ground. Okay, his throat is cut ear to ear. How does that happen while he's standing up? Probably not. So you get on the ground? I had to.
But you don't remember it? I don't remember. Okay, so you think he had the knife first, and you got it away from him. I'm saying that I don't know where the knife came from. But you said it was in his hand.
Yes, but yet you must have taken it with you when you left. Yes, if it wasn't laying there. Yes, it was not in the scene. There's no knife in the scene. Do you remember tossing it? No. Could it be in one of your barns at the house? No. I mean, I just can't picture keeping something like that. Why would you do that? Was it in
your truck for some time, or did you toss it right away? I mean, would it be in close proximity to the house? That's the part I don't remember. Right. But understand what's at stake. How do you want to be looked at, Tony? The guy that's still when all the evidence was presented to him, and you know in your heart that we're not lying. You don't. Okay, well, yeah, I'm confused just in the sense that if it was his knife, I can understand how he had a knife. But if you brought the knife, which I know you don't know if you did, then how did he get the knife? I remember getting a hold of his arm, his hand, his wrist, and he had a knife in his hand. Yeah. Okay. So it makes more sense that it was his knife, doesn't it? Because otherwise, how does he knife away from... What's that? While he's in bed, in a water bed. Well, he gets out of bed, and there's a scuffle. But say the knife is on the dresser or something, and he grabs it. I don't know. But if you came in with the knife, how would he get that knife away from you?
If you're drawn to drop it, fumble for it. Never things can happen. Do you remember anything like that it fell out of your hand or anything? No. You just remember it being in his hand.
And then you get it, and then you go to town on him. Get your looks in. He goes down. You've already punched Tana, so she's kind of out. You get on top of her, you cut her nighty-nighty, and you have sex with her. She starts to stir.
Plunge a knife in. But you don't remember plunging a knife. I don't. But you do remember plunging a knife into Tim. I remember fighting with him. Stabbing him? Yes.
So why do you think it is that you can't remember stabbing her? You only stabbed her once. I don't know that. I don't know that answer, 'cause it's just too horrible to say. That's a fact. Yeah, it's horrible. It is horrible. But this all is horrible, Tony. I agree. There's not one or the other that's more or less horrible. I can see. Believe it or not, you probably don't feel any better, but I can see the release in you now that you're getting this stuff out. You know, you said you've had these little bit of memories over the years. I mean, Tony, that was all of this stuff you're telling us you've known all these years. And there's got to be some guilt that went along with that. Like, you know what I mean? You have to have felt like, oh man, that's a horrible thing to live with. So you suppress it, repress, whatever. You haven't had to have felt guilt. No, you were there that night. There's no disputing that. And you had the opportunity to say, you know what? It was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. And I'm going to tell you guys about it because I regret it. And you turned around and you walked.
about that stuff, right? Absolutely. And you've had to think about this stuff over the years, because even if we don't want to think about something, we can't just turn our brain on and off like that. So I would believe that you've had these thoughts of what happened at
Night, many times over the years, they pop up. Yeah. Have you have nightmares? No. Have you ever caught yourself thinking about or wondering about? If law enforcement comes, what am I going to say? How do I explain it? No. You've never had thought about that. Just wanted to suppress it. Just didn't think about it. Did you ever think that power line you left
Evidence behind? Was that ever a concern? Like, did I leave something there that they can come back to me on? You knew you had sex with her, but back in those days, DNA was not. And then even after DNA got to be a thing, you knew law enforcement didn't have your DNA. Are these things you thought about over the years or not? Not really, no. So just you thought about what happened that night. You figured you must have got away with it, 'cause nobody ever came knocking. With no tactics left in his evil mind, Tony eventually admitted he brutally killed Tana, Timothy, and their dog. Or did he? At 1:39 p.m., after more than 5 hours of interrogation, detectives formally placed Tony Hose under arrest for the murders of Tana Togstead and Timothy Mumm. In February 2023, Tony Hose pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. However, a major plot twist happened. After 4 weeks of testimony, strong evidence, and DNA analysis, a jury acquitted him, not guilty on both counts. That monster eventually walked out of the courtroom as a free man. Let that sink in for a moment. 30 years, a DNA match, a bloody handprint, a confession inside that interrogation room, and still reasonable doubt. The defense argued the DNA samples were degraded and potentially contaminated. They even went further, pointing fingers at Tony's uncle, Jeff Fell, a man with a history of violence who died in 1995, that he was the real killer and not Tony. And now, because of how the law works, he can never be charged for this again. Ever. That door is permanently closed. Tony remembers everything and knew exactly what he was doing when he took their lives in the most gruesome way. Tana's father survived a snowmobile accident, only to outlive his daughter because a drunk man decided a 15-year-old wound was worth acting on. Tana Togstead was 23 years old. Timothy Mumbup was 35. They deserved answers long before 2019, and so did every person who loved them. Our hearts go out to Tana and Tim's families, all who knew. Away from that opportunity, because later on down the road, when you want to come back and say you feel bad about what you did, and you want to come back and say it was the biggest regret you've ever had, no one's going to believe you, because they're going to say, you know what? On August 11th, you had that opportunity. Them and all who loved them. If you found this video informative, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Let me know in the comments what cases you'd like to see covered next. Come in that room and say, you know what? I screwed up, and here's who was involved, and this is how I got wrapped up in this. And you know what? Maybe there's no one involved. Maybe it was you alone. I don't know. And if it was you alone, then you're going to have to deal with that. But if it wasn't you, detectives, not the families, not even the prosecution, was how this story would end and leave everyone speechless. Your DNA has already been tested, and it's 100% matched to the semen that was found on the body of Tana. I wouldn't have mine. As far as the test goes, I'm sure you, alone. I don't think it was your idea, but I don't know. But you have the answers. There's going to be someone down the road, Tony. And I don't know who that is. They are going to want to know. You're a human being. You are not this cold, cold monster.
They are going to want to know, you know what? I made a bad mistake. Worst day of my life. I'm sorry. Someone somewhere is going to pass some judgment on you. How do you want that to look? How do you want that to be? Told me.
Think of your family. And that's all that I can impress upon you is your family, Tony. They deserve to understand and know too. And for them to be able to go forward out there, they have to face the community and face these families. Tony, I am telling you, human to human, do the right thing. Explain why, how you got wrapped in. You are a good guy. You've lived your life. You've had a career. You have a family. You told me how important your family is. Those grandbabies, those sons and daughter, that wife, the mother across the road. They deserve to understand so that they can go forward. Tony, I don't understand. Notice how Tony didn't bulge when detectives asked him about what happened in 1992. He already knew this moment was going to come and has been preparing for the past 30 years. But he isn't fooling anyone here. The video footage from the house and the
crime scene will show how he did it. It's going to sound stupid, but I never knew I did it. Okay, back in them days, I drank
We saw this stuff on TV. Just like I said, I wasn't lying about any of that. It's just, over the years, little by little, I'd see a little click here and there, but that I was wondering if I had something to do with it. But I'll tell you.
straight up, and I'm not lying, that I don't believe that I would do that. You have suppressed this for a long time because you've had to, Tony. You've had to get through days and weeks and months and years. You do that by suppressing, by disassociating. That wasn't me. That was horrible. That was terrible. You got scared straight. You didn't speed. You didn't go rob. You didn't burglarize. You didn't hurt anyone else. Want to know how you did? Yep. Okay. You did not pass. I remember his having a hold of his hand. At exactly 9:15 a.m. on March 21st, 1992, law enforcement in Wauwega, Waukee County, Wisconsin, responded to a quiet,
Scared straight, and you knew, holy crap, that was bad. That was out of control. I can't ever do that again. And by suppressing that, by disassociating, that's how and you probably didn't tell anyone, have you? No, because I didn't believe it. Well, when you have these little clips of me, who else would you? What do you mean? Just like, are you saying you did this? I mean, because you have the memory of it, but were you with another person when this happened? No. So you did this alone. Like I said, I did not. I still don't buy that. I would do that. And the only thing that bothers me is now and then I do have where all of a sudden, hey, I shouldn't know about that. Or,
Like what? Give us an example. The Wizzy was there. One of the things that I keep coming up with is I puked because I had a lot of whiskey in me.
that night, I puked outside. I remember just thinking about, hey, I puked. Where did you drink? All over bars. Yeah, but what made you go to Tana's place that night? See, that's the thing. I don't have any
tie to those people. I don't, the guy, I do not know him from anybody. And like I said, her, the most I would have seen of her was like during a horse and buggy
parade or something like that, riding our horse. Was it like you were attracted to or something? No. I mean, I had a girlfriend. I mean, was that true with the girlfriend at the time? What do you mean? Who was your girlfriend at the time? Jody? It was Jody. Mm-hmm. Where was she that night? She wasn't alone. You were out alone? Yeah, no buddies. I don't remember it. That night is a big blank. Tony wants detectives to first believe he has a bad memory, and second, accept he didn't know Timothy and Tana. From anywhere. Even a fool will question that story, because Tony did know Tana, and both had worked at the same local cheese factory. His father died in a 1977 snowmobile accident that Tana's father was involved in, a wound Tony acted on. What vehicle, Tony, did you have? A farmhouse on its outskirts, after a neighbor noticed something wasn't right. First responders entered the residence to a scene of absolute horror. They discovered 23-year-old Tana Togstad and her 35-year-old boyfriend, Timothy Mumroom, brutally mauled inside Tana's farmhouse, where Timothy had...
Look at the snow. Okay, another thing that I think about, Tony, is when you left that house that night, you would have been covered in blood. And I don't know, Jay, it's up to Jay, but we've got photos of the crime scene. You would have been covered in blood. What would you have done with your bloody clothes? Snow. Okay. Tire tracks. There was blood outside.
Okay, that doesn't ring a bell. Then tire tracks? No. Do you remember a dog being at the house? No. Don't remember any barking? No. If there was barking, wouldn't that wake people up? Unless you stopped the barking. Where's the knife from?
I don't know the hunt knives that I still have. Where are those at? One is a K-bar that my in-laws bought for me for Christmas. We're talking about knives that you would have had 30 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know of any of them that old. I guess my point was, Tony, is if a person is drunk and they go do something crazy, okay, people black out. I understand that. But when you woke up the next day, the clothes that you would have had on would have been covered in blood, but you wouldn't have been drunk at that point. You would have remembered at that point. And the biggest thing for me is today you remembered when we were in that other room. You remembered that you stabbed Tim and Tana in that house. You remembered that you had sexual contact with Tana. You remembered. So when you sit here today and say you haven't remembered for 30 years, no, I didn't say that. What I said was now and then I get little blurps. Give me Tony. Give me another, for instance.
Memory. A memory. What is another blurb? You said you threw up. That would be, man, the adrenaline, the just the wow factor of holy, what the hell did I do? How did this happen? How did it get to this? What's the other, what's
Another blurb? The video camera? Okay, I don't know why, but every now and then I just picture a video camera in the house. Yeah.
Been stabbed 27 times. Tana was a hard-working young woman known for her kind heart, while Tim was a devoted partner who had been staying at the farmhouse that night. The scene was one of the most violent Waka County had ever processed. For 30 years, the case went cold. No arrests, no leads.
Did you take it? No. Was it running? I don't think so. It was. We been in here 30 years ago. No, it's just little things like that. What else? Tell me. Give me another one. That night, bouncing around from bar to bar, and then I remember rolling around the way we could park. For whatever reason, I don't know, before or after. And then when I left the bar. So before you went to tennis?
I assume so, yeah. Do you remember roughly? Did you hear last call and I leave? Did you shut it down? Did you leave early? That I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Do you remember the snow? When you were rolling around, it snowed that night. You remember being wet? No. Have you felt guilt? I feel, like I said, when these memories, or whatever you want to call it, come up. There's no way in hell I did that. Have you sought treatment for those? No.
Have you talked to anybody about this? The loopholes in his story are becoming impossible to ignore. First of all, you don't get blurbs from a place you were never at. He needs to try another lie next time. It was a long time, I know, before I even started getting these little. So, the day after it happened, you didn't have any recollection of anything that happened. But the blood, Tony. I did not have any bloody clothes that I know of the next day. So if there were such a thing, I either got rid of it that night, took care of it, or I don't know. But I can tell you when I woke up.
Where'd you wake up? I was pretty sure I was living at my mom's at that time, so I would have woke up there. And I'm sorry you said, when I woke up, were you going to say if there was something like that I would have seen it? Did your mom know?
What? Did your mom know about anything? Did your mom wash the clothes? No. My mom would have, if she found something like that, she would have been on my ass. She would have had me in by an ear, you know?
Could have you got your residences mixed up? I mean, we're talking 1.8 miles away. That's literally right around the corner. Could have you been trying to go home and you walked in the wrong house? I don't see how I would do that. Did you ever have any fascination with?
2 families left with nothing but unanswered questions and a file that was quietly gathering dust. But that changed in 2019 when investigators uploaded DNA recovered from the crime scene to a public genealogy database. The search built a family tree that pointed directly to one name.
Tana? Did you ever want to date her? Did you think she was hot? Did you have, I know you keep saying you didn't know Jim. Was there anything, Tim, I'm sorry, anything that you would have been angry at Tim about? Like I said, I know that guy from nowhere I had never talked to that man in my life, ever. There was a struggle, Tony, that night. A pretty good struggle. You're a formidable guy. You're a big guy. You can handle yourself in a fight. Been in a couple little scrapes.
Tell me about those tidbit memories of the physicality, the speed, the Tim fought for his life, Tony. He fought like a champ. You're twice the size, 2.5 times the size. You would have, there's got to be motion. There's got to be force. You got to be feeling. You got to be feeling you're plunging that knife, Tony. There's got to be some tidbits on that. I don't remember anything like that. Jay, what do you think about showing the picture of Tim? Can I show you? I really don't want to see it. Now, detectives are picking his story apart piece by piece. Notice his calm composure when detectives were describing the gore of the stabbings. That tells them what they need to know. But every word out of his mouth was about to be proven false. Maybe seeing the picture will bring back a memory of that room. See all the stab wounds? It was an angry person that night. Yeah, so then why would it be me? I knew nothing of that guy. Nothing. That's why I'm wondering. That's why I'm not sold on all this. But we also know your semen is on Tana, who's in the bed right next door. And she's also stabbed. I can't see that far. It's a waterbed. I still don't buy it. I don't. Why do you have those memories? That's what bugs me. I don't know. How do you explain your DNA? I don't. I don't. Do you know how DNA works? No. Every single living creature has different DNA. There's no 2 people on the face of the earth that have the same DNA. So millions, billions of people on Earth, and no one has the same DNA. It's crazy how the human being is. And yours is the one. Scruffy got stabbed too. The dog. Tony Haas. When questioned, Tony kept his facade of being an innocent man, claiming he didn't know them from anywhere. But as you're about to see,
Tony's 3-decade-long masquerade as a loving human is about to be shattered by evidence he carelessly left in the past. The following footage was, "That's why we asked about the dog. This stuff, I don't remember anything. I think like Jay said earlier,
Traumatic events we tried to repress, and I think you spent 30 years repressing this. But I don't have a doubt in my mind that there was a day that this was all clear to you. I'm telling you, now and then something will just like out of the blue pop in my head about it. But I know myself. I know how I was raised. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not going to believe that I could do that. Have you had any treatment? Had any diagnosis? Anything related to memory?"
Forgetfulness, blackouts. What kind of medications are you on? I take blood pressure meds. Okay, nothing for dizziness, blackouts, seizures? Nothing. Have you ever had a problem remembering at work?
You don't remember dates. I noticed you're foggy on dates, numbers, your marriage date, those. And I get that. I mean, I'm not the best at those, Tony. All I'm saying is, I've just noticed those are a little fuzzy. Is there anything else, Tony, that you forgot? Well, I forget you all the time. No, but I mean big chunk things in your life. Do you remember your wedding day? What do you remember the birth of your children? I remember bits and pieces, but not clear. No. I like my wedding. I remember that I had a lot of funks. I drank way too much that night, too. And my wife had to drive home because she reminds me of that. The kids' birthdays, I know about how old they are, but I have to stop and think or ask my wife, how old they are. Basically, the only thing that I know was working at home.
That's what you chose to remember, though. Tell me, you were with nobody that night? There was all kinds of people that I was drinking with at the bar, but I wasn't running around with nobody. No. You didn't have a best friend? No. Didn't have any business associates? No? No one said, "Hey, I'll give you $500 if you go over there and rough them up." No. Nothing like that at all. I would have done that.
Provided by Waka County, you are giving consent to provide a buccal swab. It's just a tip. I'll just swab the inside your mouth, but you're giving me consent. That's me. I'm from Wisconsin Department of Justice, Division of Criminal Investigation.
Like I said, I have no tie with these people. Detectives are giving him time to dig his grave further by asking him if he had doctor reports on his blurry memory, and he fell right into that trap. I, in my mind, don't believe that I could have done that. I don't.
Do you believe that I'm telling you the truth? This isn't smoke and mirrors, Tony. I would hope so. This isn't TV. We'd lose our job about this. It's not some movie.
Okay. There was human male semen deposit on Tana. She was killed with a knife, and there were other dastardly things done to her utilizing the knife. Okay, for instance, her nightie, her camisole. Whatever it is, it slid right up the middle. I mean, you did that. You don't remember slicing her nightie? No. You don't remember smashing her in the nose? There's a good gash on the left side of her nose. No. You right-handed? Right-handed. Probably knocked her out. Knocked her cold. And do you remember any vehicles in the driveway? There were vehicles there? Do you remember which side of the house you went in or out of? You said you threw up. Where would you have thrown up? I remember coming down a step. Throwing up. Where's the house? And that would be a normal thing to do after something like that. What about the front door? The white front door in the front of the house? I don't know what about it. I'm just asking an open-ended question. Does it mean anything to you? Because there's blood evidence there. Mm-hmm. Do you remember any? Do you remember closing that door, keeping it shut? Do you remember there was a do-si-do with you and Tim. There just was. It's all over. There was a lot of movement in that bedroom. I can show you all the things that are knocked over. I don't remember. Telephone handset. There's a telephone handset.
I was calling somebody, or it's missing? Did you keep anything from the scene? Tell me. Did you keep the handset? Did you keep the underwear? Did you take anything?
We'll take the sample and we'll compare it to evidence that we have with the case. Okay, so we will convey it to the Wisconsin Crime Laboratory, and they'll examine that. Okay, it's real quick, it's painless. I'll put some gloves on and a mask, just...
Not that I know of. I would have seen that the next day. Not that I know of. The next day? Where are you at, buddy? I should have been at my mom's. What was going on at Mom's house that next day? I don't remember.
What'd you do the next day? That was no night. You would have had some blood on you. There's a footprint out in the snow where there's blood. There's way too much blood on the ceiling, on the curtain, on the bed, on the walls, on
the carpet. He is slashed and stabbed repeated. Tony held on to his golden phrase of, I don't remember. But at this point, the distinction between guilt and consequence had basically collapsed, and Tony is sitting in it.
You and I talked earlier. It just seems so weird to me that after this happened, there would have been news reports on all the time, that Jody wasn't concerned about this. But why? Because,
well, the proximity. It's a small community, and 2 people were murdered in the house, and nobody knows why. You would think any young woman would be very afraid. Yeah, holy cow, that was pretty close. Are they going to come here?
yeah, if she did talk about it, I don't remember it. Okay, I don't remember that. Where's she at now? She married? Yeah. Do you know when your next contact with her would have been if you're at Mom's house? I would have thought the next day. Did she live there, or did she? No. Okay. So did you see each other every single day?
No, I wouldn't say every day. She never checked in and said, "What's wrong? What's on your mind? What's eating at you? What, Saturday night? Where are we going? Yeah, you went out on your own on Friday. You think she'd want to go out with you on
Saturday? Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I remember being at Corey's here a day or 2 later and we saw it on TV. So it was a day or 2 later. Okay. Monday would have been on Monday. That's great.
Sure, but nothing clicked. Well, I was just sitting there watching the news, and then it came on, and I don't remember what day it was. I just remember being with him watching.